The most incredible experience of my life has been recently to play none other than Judit Polgar, the greatest female chess player of all time by a mile. Not even a question to be asked. The greatest. Arguably the greatest female athlete of all time, reaching top 8 in a discipline in 2005, in which her peak rating was 2735 ELO. It all started on July 25th when I got this sudden email from Judit Polgar office that said, "Dear Zachary, I would like to invite you for a challenge during Judit Polgar's Global Chess Festival on September 17th at the National Gallery in Budapest, starting at 2 p.m. Already I'm like, that's a great start to the email that I'm just reading. The special event is that I will be playing versus 8 players and their communities. 4 online communities and 4 on-site communities. 4 online communities are chess.com Chess Kid, a Hungarian chess community, and me. And so I was chosen out of the 4 online communities to be the selected content creator, which is an honor, by the way. Just blown away by that. It would work as a clock simul, and you would be there on-site consulting online with your followers and discussing the move with them. So it would mean that I would play with you and your followers. And so that's what I did. I packed my bags, I went to Budapest, and on the 17th, I was playing Judit Polgar with you guys. First of all, the event was in the National Gallery, like in the place where Budapest, Hungary displays its most glorious art. And we're surrounded by these huge sculptures around us. It was just like mind-blowing. And I was in technical setup, so I was there very early, but after 2-3 hours, it was time to start the event. And Judit Polgar gets introduced on the stage, and then she introduces none other than Erno Rubik, aka the guy who invented the Rubik's Cube, to do every first move on all 8 boards. Like, this was just like unbelievable to me. So anyways, the game starts, and I'm just gonna say this straight up. She plays her first move e4. Or rather, Rubik plays the first move e4, but she like kind of told him how to play the first move. And now I ask my chat what to play against e4. Of course, if you guys know my style by now, I play e5 against e4 almost, thoughtlessly. Like I always play it. And so chat just goes overwhelming majority c6. Now, I have never played the Carlsen defense. So I was lost from move 1 and at the mercy of my entire community with you guys to look to. So she goes d4. She like goes around and then she goes d4. Mind you, she has 2 hours and 10 minutes on her clock and we have only 30 minutes. So the time for me to consult chat, plan out the move, and then execute the move is very quick. Like, we have probably 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Now, we didn't know that at the time. The strategy was, there was no time strategy, okay? And you can see that on the clock from very, very early on. So she goes d4, we go d5, Carlsen, and then knight c3. And so now we take, which is theory. I know some moves of theory with black, only because I've played this with white. And now I know the main move. I know that it's knight f6. Chat, once again, overwhelming majority goes knight d7, which I have never seen before. I actually am lost from move 4 in this game, and I'm playing the black pieces. It's like I'm playing chess in my dream, but I'm putting my hand somewhere like to get a piece, but you guys are controlling my hand and moving another piece. It felt like a dream. So I'm going knight d7 here. We're going knight d7, if we're being honest. And Judit comes around and sees knight d7 on the board and says, "Oh, I don't remember this. I used to know all of this.
I forgot about all this 10 years ago."
And she decides on the move bishop d3. At this point, we're like 5 moves in, and we already spent 10 minutes of the 30. We're basically having to grind on the clock for the rest of the game. So we go like this, knight gf6, kind of hitting this knight here, And also just developing, we can develop like this pretty nicely, or even with a fianchetto bishop on g7. So pretty flexible development, I would say. Knight g5 was played by her, and this came as a surprise to everyone because, what? You're just moving a knight 3 times in 6 moves? Breaking every opening principle possible? But then we quickly realized that Judit Polgar is one of the most also aggressive players of all time. And if you try to kick her knight here, and you think you're all smug, knight e6 almost ends the game. If we take this knight, it is checkmate in 1 move with bishop g6. This is what she had, like pre-planned. So here we have to move our queen. God forbid our pawn is there, our queen would be trapped, and the game would be over. But then we would have check, bishop here, and it's overall very ugly for us with this knight just breathing over our neck. So instead we decide on e6. Okay, we're at 19 minutes on the clock. So she goes knight f3, a developing move, preparing to castle here, and then we go bishop d6. We were debating bishop e7, but bishop d6 controls firmly this center square here, and we were pretty happy about this. So now she goes queen e2. Again, she's moving her queen out in the opening. She's breaking every opening principle. But at her level, that's what you do to confuse your opponents and just break through and destroy them. So I didn't think much of it, nor did all of our community, and we went for castles here. And as you see, the eval bar is looking very motivated on the left side of your screen. And that's because after playing castles, someone in chat goes, wait, did we miss knight takes e6?
We just allowed knight takes e6? Chat, are we cooked? Chat, are we cooked?
And yeah, that's how we lost in 8 moves to Judit Polgar. Thank you so much for watching the video and have an amazing day. But this is Judit Polgar retired for 10 years. Not that she's any worse, but this is also Judit Polgar having to play 7 other chessboards at the same time live on air. So it is only human that she saw castles as a normal move and played bishop d2.
Oh my god, she missed it. She missed it. We're still in the game. We're back. We're being overconfident right now. We will get punished for our sins, most probably. But chat, so far so good.
So we go e5. We try to break open this center because we see that there's a huge weakness on the queen and king. This has a little trap, not that Judit would fall for it, but after takes, which happened in the game, we can sacrifice our knight with knight takes, and if you take here takes, and if you were to be greedy, we can go rook e8, and we win the queen. So after knight takes, which was a great move, knight takes and then bishop takes, now we're axing our bishop against this b2 pawn, and we were overall happy about this position. Now keep in mind, we're down to 15 minutes on the clock, and Judit, one of these turns, she comes around and she says, "You're down on the clock? I'm the one who's supposed to be down on the clock." She castles long, meaning that she's preparing an attack against our king. So at this point, me and my community were like, yo, it's been good. Nice knowing y'all. She's gonna run her pawns down the board, and it's gonna be absolutely over for us. I'm out. But thankfully, we're looking for moves that's gonna continue what we have going for us, which is our initiative. And so we find a really nice developing move, rook e8. And it carries a nice threat, bishop takes pawn with check. And this would allow a discovered attack on the queen, winning the queen. So we have a threat on the board, meaning her attack is delayed here. So she has to move her queen. And she moves it to a square where I was like, this is very scary.
Queen f1, interesting move.
Okay, the engine is calling the bluff on her move, but a queen f1, you don't often see that over the board, and we were traumatized. I mean, we were completely scared from this move. So we went like, okay, we're gonna go queen b6 and continue with our threats, not knowing what this is, and it might be good someday. We don't know. But queen b6 I really much liked, because she's forced to do something bad. Either she goes b3, and this bishop is just a monster, like honing in on every weak square that this king has here, or she has to go bishop c3, in which we would just trade here and just completely weaken this king. The king is like naked at that point. or she has to play c3, which is what she played, still weakening some of her squares. And then we opted to kick this guy because, I mean, she has a threat here. She's going like bishop c4, and I don't like this f7 pawn being weak. I don't like any of it. So we go h6. She comes around and she plays knight f3. The better move was like h4, like super aggressive. I'm not moving my knight, you know, and sacrificing the knight. I don't even want to look at that line because, you know, we were very scared of it during the game because we said that this is a hook. So we're providing white with kind of like a hook for once she goes back, she can like just use this pawn to her advantage to progress her and uplift her attack. I was very scared about that. And now we got a little fancy because we're on a roll. We have like 3 moves, back to back to back, attacking her front and putting her pieces away and making some threats. So we said, let's go for the win. We went knight g4. Attacking a weakness on f2, albeit, but we completely missed this move that defends and does very well for white. See if you can find it. The better move here to retain an advantage, which is bishop c7, and black is fully a little bit better. Bishop e6 is going to come in, and we're just going to continue and harvest this attack with this a pawn as well. It's looking pretty fruitful. And she finds rook e1, which we were very scared about before she made her move because we're always discussing this position. Me and the chat on Twitch, we were like continuously going, okay, what if she does this? What if she does this? What if she does this? So rook e1. And now like bishop f4, no, not bishop f4, sorry. Now she carries a threat of takes, and f4, winning this piece because of the pin. So takes, yeah, we had to do something about, I didn't like any of this. We can't move our bishop because this is hanging. I didn't like, she's threatening h3. I'm remembering now. h3, just winning this piece. So we were panicking at this point. We were like, okay, she missed a win earlier on, but now we're truly cooked. It's over. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. But we find like queen a5. This is all you guys, by the way. Queen a5 I really didn't see. I was honestly going for maybe queen c7, just defending this. The idea is that we defend this so that on h3 we can just go back and like hold the position as much as we can. But also queen a5 is attacking a2. And that carries a little subliminal threat that she has to deal with. She doesn't care. She plays h3. She like completely says, nope, a2 is not threatened. This is hanging. So now this is hanging, so I can't really take here. So if we were to take, pawn takes, check, and then the bishop goes back and it's super clean for white. So okay, I just go back. And now king b1 to defend this pawn. She actually had to continue with not caring. c4 attacking my queen. And if queen takes, now you can take this. And if the queen goes back to continuously defend, rook takes. And after all of these trades are clear, now white can progress their position with this immense bishop pair. So after king b1 is played, this is like the first time in 2 moves that we're like chilling. Like we're like, whew. Now it's our turn to bring on the heat. And we go with threats. I mean, I love this. Okay, we went with bishop d6. We wanted to go bishop d6, e6 here, but it didn't really work out. So bishop d7, we're just developing. It's not actually heat. I don't know why I just lied there, but anyways. g4 she goes with, and we get very scared about g4. g4 is threatening like g5, and as I said before, she's using our hook on h6 to pierce through with her attack. So now we have to find the correct moves. And we kind of do, but don't. We objectively don't, but we convincingly do. So we go with queen d5, which is objectively not the best move. Bishop c7 was best, which I don't understand this. You're just like going back and letting this in. Oh, now there's takes, knight takes, and takes here. And this is fully defended. And if queen takes, retaining the defense on g5, now you can go queen d5, which is genius. Who thinks of this? Takes, takes. And then this guy goes away, and now we win. So we didn't really see that because we have 6 minutes on our clock. We're struggling here. We're in time pressure. And it's not me moving the pieces. It's me talking to chat to move the pieces. The struggle's real. But we find queen d5. And the idea is to attack this piece. If the piece were to move, we had something very nice here. Like on knight h4, we had like just rook a d8 coming in, b5. We had some good things. Maybe c5, c5, b5. I mean, we had a lot of things coming. Overall, the knight on h4 does not threaten this as much because the knight is not risking to jump to g5. So she finds the correct procedure. She takes, we take, she takes, and then we take. She shouldn't have taken, says the engine. Rook d1 was best. Hard to find. So she takes, and she uses this to play queen c1. We thought it was good at the time. It's actually not that good. And now we go with a really nice, this is details. Me and chat, we realized that this is now weak because of this g4 push. In fact, white's attack has not worked out at all since starting this g4 march. And so we aim to punish that, because a lot of these squares are now very much punishable with a death sentence if we were to have the initiative, which we do. So we start, queen d5, attacking this bishop that can't attack our queen, and piercing through this position with a potential queen f3, queen g2. I was pretty happy to see this. She doesn't have many moves that are quite interesting. Queen c2, bishop c2. So she plays bishop c2, and now we go bishop e6. Finally, we are creating threats. And this is where we got a little bit excited. For the first time of the game, a little bit of excitement on team the chess nerd. So she goes with b3, and then I go knight e4, attacking this bishop. We were also very excited about this because earlier on we gave the bishop pair, and now it doesn't feel like she has the bishop pair over our knight and bishop. Our knight and bishop are strong enough to feel like better pieces than these two. Why? Because this knight is centralized and this bishop is stable and looking on both wings of the board. That's what you like in a bishop. So we're threatening this bishop here. If the bishop goes here, I came up. I'm very proud of this, by the way.
With a move like bishop here, we can think of knight g3 moves, attacking this rook. And if the rook moves here, we have a knight fork with knight e2, attacking the rook and the queen. Bishop here, knight g3, double attacking this rook. If the rook moves up, then we have knight f1 trapping the rook, actually just winning. Wait, what?
Anyways, none of that. She played the bishop takes e4, which is a mistake. And we knew it was a mistake the second she played it, because we took back the bishop, and now we do check. And the king has to move, because if the queen blocks, we take this rook. I knew this was good, because from her book, shameless plug, you did invite me to your event, thank you, Judit. From her book, Master Your Chess, which I've been reading for the past month, I'm at like page 200, she says herself, in opposite colored bishop middle games, the side with the attacking opposite colored bishop is always favored. And that's what we have as the black pieces. After this king moves from the check that the white queen exhibits, now we have the chance to attack her king. A chance that she missed on when she tried to attack us. Her attack is dead because we traded off the pieces that were dangerous in her attack. And here we were debating for a long time. We have 4 minutes on the clock. But we were debating between rook d8 and a5. Both are good. Rook d8, I really wanted this, but in the final voting, chat really liked this a5 idea. And I agreed. I ended up agreeing because it's also very, very smart. a5 with a4 with a takes b3 to open up this rook. The rook is already well placed. It's just awaiting the right moment to strike. And that is when the pawn disappears on the a file. So that's what we play, a5. She kicks our queen. We go queen move. Apparently the engine says queen g2 is way better. But I thought it's one of these two squares are very, very good because this is the entire weakness of the white pieces. Like, g4 has been played, and now all of these pawns are just weak and ready to be picked on. So the second we play that queen f3, we're attacking these pawns and also attacking this other side of the board. And this is actually the first time in which we find quite some comfort in this game.
The board is being played on both sides. That's how you win a chess game. You create weaknesses on both sides of the board and then press your opponent. We're pressuring. This is happening.
Black is attacking on this queen side of the board, and black is also nitpicking at the king side of the board. And that's a sign that you're winning in chess. So now bishop e3 is played, completely sacrificing this pawn. And we didn't want to take this because we thought that takes is fine, but it lets her attack, and our queen is quite out of play. A more noble move is to go immediately a4 and just go with our plan before she has the chance to close up with maybe a4 herself. So we went with a4 with 4 minutes on the clock. She comes around a little bit faster and she goes queen d1, trying to trade queens. Trading queens would most likely be a draw, but we wanted to push further. We were an ambitious group and we went with queen takes h3. Now we take, because our pawn here can't be stopped. If you reject us opening the file, we'll go with a3, very, very poignant. And if you take our pawn, this double pawn is not going to last very long. Also, we are threatening this pawn on g4 to win 2 pawns up. So we're a pawn up against Judit Polgar. So rook g1 to defend the pawn, and now we go with takes, opening up the file, going through with our plan, and then we go with queen h2. Because this was our plan. We wanted to reorient our queen on the a file to checkmate this king, because that's our play. That's where we thrive, is if we go queen a3 or queen a2, that's how we can win this game. So we had to find a path. Apparently queen h4 is completely winning, but okay. Probably the same idea, something like this. So g5 is played. Now Judit wants to open up this file and create enough counterplay to just massacre our king. So we had to avoid this with h5. Then she goes g6, and we did not know what to do. At this point, it was either we take this pawn and trade and let this rook invade, attacking our bishop, which I didn't like, or we leave this pawn super strong against our king and move this pawn away. That's what we did. And it's not that good of a move. Now she goes rook e1. Rook h1 would kind of strike here and win this pawn. So I guess she missed that. Rook h1, we had bishop g4. That's what I found. So rook h1, I had bishop g4, I said to the chat. And she doesn't have f3 here because this pawn is pinned. And if she takes the queen, I took. I was so proud when I found this because it's so nice. So she would have to move her queen, meaning she doesn't win this h5 pawn, and then we can go like queen d6 to go queen a3, and then our plan is in action. So I was very happy about this line on f6. But she went rook e1, which is a mistake apparently, because we have bishop g4, which is what we played. Attacking this queen, moving the queen away from this h5 pawn so that we can retreat back to a5. Hopefully, she can go queen here, giving us this d6 square. That would be really on the money for us. But she goes queen d4, centralizing the queen and still taking up these vital squares from our queen. So we had to go all the way back to c7 to try to get this a5 square. This is where it gets spicy, because now she knows that we're up a pawn, a full pawn, and that we're ready to checkmate the king quite literally. Queen c4 check. A little bit scared, but we had this covered. We had king h8, which we played very quickly. At this point, might I remind you that we have 1 minute on the clock.
The trick is that she plays a move. I have to like fake write it down. I do write down the move. The second she's there, I say, chat, what do we do? They already got the spam, I play it. And then we have like 15 minutes until she comes back. What was that?
No engine.
No engine, no. I'm trusting chat. I trust my chat, bro. My chat honest. My chat be one of those honest chats.
The second she would do her move against us, she leaves to go to the other boards. We say, okay, chat, try to make up some conversation. That was the tactic. And then we play our move very fast. Like that, our clock stays, it was plus 10 seconds on the clock. So let's say here, she plays queen c4. I say, okay, chat, queen c4. We let her leave. Our move is obvious. We're not going to go king f8, going into this bishop c5, right? So we let her leave, and then we go king h8. So that now she has to do 7 boards in order to come back to our board to play. And we have all this time to discuss. So that's how we just kept this leg up. So king h8, now she takes her time to go around. And we in the chat were like, okay, queen a5 is next. We're going to go queen a2, queen a3. These are the threats on the board. There's not much she can do against this. And then she goes b4. And then we go, what? b4, a move we completely missed, annihilates our plan. But this creates a lot of weaknesses in our position. Now this a4 square is ours. This a file is twice as strong because we have 3 squares, not 2. And if we get this diagonal and kick this queen off, we can get a2 and we most probably win. So white has a lot of weaknesses on the squares. And so here we were looking at candidate moves, but quickly we found out that this pawn is extremely weak and is hard to defend for white. So we just made use of our bishop and played bishop f5, attacking this g6 pawn. And after the forced reply rook g1 to defend, now we can go queen h2. We were very proud of this move because it forces a lot. This rook is under fire, this pawn is under fire. If you want to go here, and this is where one chatter in particular, Stephen Willie. Stephen Willie, I have nothing but good words for you. Stephen Willie is a known person in my community who's like 2500 rapid. And he was saying a lot of variations that were so key in this game.
It's a big shout out to Stephen over there.
Steven.
He said queen h2. When he suggested this, he already had in mind rook g3, and he said if rook g3, it's game over. Because black can go queen h1 and threaten queen d1 checkmate in a few moves. And white basically has nothing. If you want to block with bishop c1, queen d1 is coming with queen c2 next. Queen b3 to defend this, queen e2 check. And you have to give up everything. So she sees this and goes queen f1. And on queen f1, we're pretty happy. Because remember, the queen here was taking up all of these nice squares against us. And this lets us now centralize our queen, queen e5. All of these pieces are looking damp and frail and passive. And I was even calculating rook a3 things here, because that might be the threat that's coming up. I was thinking on any odd move, rook a3, king takes, queen takes c3. And on king a4, I had actually big trouble seeing how black was winning. But I even looked at c5 threatening mate, bishop takes, and then bishop d7 with some mating patterns. I don't know if it works or not. But we were calculating anything and everything. We had a hunch that we were winning. We didn't know that it's -6 here, -7. Queen e1. Queen e1 was threatening this at the time, and we were looking at several different options. You really can't do anything here, because let's say you go with this little bishop g4. Doesn't look like that bad of a move. Rook takes, pawn takes, and now queen h1. Whoopsie. Queen goes down to h8, picks up the rook, and it's over. King g8, queen h7, king f8, check, this, and then just queen takes. So you really can't do anything to defend this. But then, in the final hour, we have 1 minute left on the clock. Literally 1 minute left. In the final hour, we have a spam from the chat. I mean, you guys found this move clutch. Bishop e6. Not only defending this pawn, but also bringing the bishop on the diagonal we so wanted. Threatening now rook a2. And this pawn is under fire as well. And all of our pieces are attacking. And all of white's pieces are defending or neutralized like this bishop. Judit comes around to our board and says, "Oh no, I'm in trouble."
Oh, I'm in trouble.
And she plays this move. And from here on out, it gets really nice for us. Well, we win a queen, right? So on rook a2 check, if the king goes here, we could just take and it's going to be over in a few moves. So like this, check, king here, and then bishop b3. And this forces the queen to give itself up, and we're going to be mating. So she takes our rook, we take, and then king takes. And now we win this pawn. And from here, we have 46 seconds on the clock, and I say to chat, we got it from here. Like now it's just me playing, because I don't have time to look at chat. We have 46 seconds on the clock. And at this time, she's drawn 2 boards and won the rest, and she has like still like two games running. So she's like kind of sprinting between our boards. And so she goes rook h1, I go check, king here, and then we take this pawn. I'm ready to give this one up This is all me, by the way. From here on out, I play every single move. So rook c5, I go queen a3 check, king here, and here I meant to go queen d3. I said to check queen d3, picking up this pawn and just winning aimlessly. And then I played this, kind of a brain fart moment. The king goes to c1, and I was like, okay, well, I can do this anyways, and there's no way she can defend the g6 pawn. King b2, and we pick it up, and just a few more moments of conversion. The plan here that's winning is just bringing up these pawns and forcing the king, bishop, and rook back. And so that's what I do, b5. If she takes this pawn, I just win with this simple little trick, queen d5 check, winning the rook. So the rook has to stay. Queen d6 check, I go here, and now we go with g5, kind of taking off some squares from this bishop, bishop d4, and now I go b4 check. I think she missed this, because she took some time on this move and she didn't like it. Here, if the king takes, we just take the bishop, but if the king goes here, we just continue our pawn. So that's what happened. King d3, b3, threatening b2. It's really not obvious, because b2 just threatens to win, and if the king goes back, we just win the bishop. So rook back, and now we go with queen a3, just bringing this pawn to the promotion square. Bishop c5. If I go check, I lose the queen. I can make another one, but it's not that satisfactory, so I just went with queen a1, taking up these next two promotion squares for my pawn, and from here it's very much over. Rook b4, check, king up, and then queen c2 check, and after b2, Judit resigns on the board. A memorable event in my life, in which me and my Twitch chat, love you guys, beat Judit Polgar. Judit Polgar. At the end, when I was asking her to sign my book, because I have her other book that I bought at the event. This is like all of her best games from 2001 and onward. And I just started the book. The first game is against Kasparov. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting, high-level book. And as she's signing it, she says to me, I would congratulate you, but you beat me. She says with a smirk. And to me, that revealed her competitive spirit. The fact that when she was in the midst of her career, she would never take an easy draw. She was always an extremely aggressive, attacking, and pushing player. And that revealed her mentality, that even 10 years later, that's where she's at. And that is how we beat Judit Polgar. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video, and see you next time.
This is Zach's first win over a grandmaster.
Oh my god.
Don't tell me that.
Oh, how are you? I'm good. That one. I know I saw it.